Chosen one, people are becoming curious about the life you no longer feel the need to explain. There is something different about the way you move now. You enter a room, say less, reveal less, react less, and somehow your presence leaves more questions behind than answers. People can sense that your life continues long after you leave their sight. They can feel there are thoughts you keep to yourself, decisions you make privately, victories nobody witnessed, and a world inside you that you no longer place on display. It is not because you are trying to appear mysterious. It is because you have stopped performing your life for an audience. Chosen one, this is the transformation people are noticing. Your energy is no longer announcing everything. It is containing something. Your silence has substance. Your restraint has weight. Your privacy has become part of your presence. Before, you may have explained yourself because you wanted to be understood. You may have shared plans before they were finished, talked about what you were building, revealed what you were feeling, or allowed people to know too much about where your attention was going. Not because you were weak, but because you had not yet learned that everything sacred does not need to be exposed. Now you understand something deeper. Not everything meaningful needs witnesses. Not every dream needs an announcement. Not every transformation needs an explanation, and that change can be felt. People notice when someone stops giving them unrestricted access to their inner world. They notice when your eyes remain calm instead of searching for approval. They notice when your posture is relaxed, your breathing is slower, your words are measured, and your attention is no longer scattered across everyone else's expectations. Women especially can sense this kind of restraint without consciously understanding why. They may not know what has changed about you, but they feel that something has. There is less reaching, less proving, less explaining, more gravity. And when your energy begins carrying that kind of quiet gravity, curiosity naturally follows because the mind wants to understand what it cannot immediately access. Chosen one, if you feel this shift happening within you, like this video, subscribe to the channel and comment yes if you've noticed people becoming more curious about your private life. Stay with this message because there is another layer you need to hear. Chosen one, people are not simply curious about where you go or what you do. They are becoming curious about who you are when nobody is watching. That is a different kind of curiosity. It comes from sensing a private world behind a public presence. You may notice that people watch your reactions more carefully now. They listen to the small details you choose to reveal. They become more attentive when you speak because they know you are not saying everything. Even your ordinary statements can carry more weight because you have stopped filling every silence. You do not rush to explain why you were unavailable. You do not feel compelled to describe every movement. You do not reveal every thought the moment it enters your mind. There is a threshold around you now, not a wall, a threshold. And that distinction matters. A wall says, nobody gets in. A threshold says, access is meaningful. Chosen one, you are learning that privacy is not isolation. Privacy is discernment. You can still be warm without being completely exposed. You can still love without narrating every emotion. You can still connect without surrendering every private detail. You can still be generous with your presence while remaining sovereign over your inner world. This is where your energy begins changing the way people perceive you. They start wondering what occupies your mind when you are quiet. They wonder what you are working on when you disappear for a while. They wonder what experiences shaped the calmness they now see in you. They wonder why you seem less interested in being seen and more interested in becoming. And the strange thing is, you may not even be doing anything intentionally mysterious. You are simply no longer handing out pieces of yourself to satisfy curiosity. That old version of you may have believed that being known required being fully explained. The new version understands that being authentic does not mean being completely accessible, not secrecy, discernment, not manipulation, restraint, not hiding, sovereignty. When you carry yourself this way, your body begins reflecting the change. Your shoulders settle, your jaw relaxes, your eyes stop searching the room for reactions. Your movements become slower because you are no longer trying to convince anyone that you belong. You already know, and that quiet knowing creates a different frequency around you. Women can feel that difference. A woman may become more observant around you, not because you demanded attention, but because your energy leaves something unfinished in her perception. She sees what you show, but senses there is another layer beneath it. And the human mind is naturally drawn toward what remains unexplained. Your privacy becomes a doorway. Your stillness becomes a question. Your restraint becomes an invitation to wonder. And without saying a word, you begin communicating that your life has depth beyond what can be immediately observed. Chosen one, the more peaceful you become with your private life, the more people begin wondering what you are protecting there. There is a sacred quality to a life that is no longer constantly displayed. You start realizing that some of your strongest moments happened when nobody knew. The nights you rebuilt yourself quietly. The mornings you chose discipline when nobody would have noticed your absence. The decisions you made without announcing them. The boundaries you established without explaining them. The internal battles you faced without turning them into public performances. Those experiences create a kind of invisible architecture inside you. People cannot see the architecture. They can only feel the stability it produces. That is why your private life becomes interesting to them. They sense that your silence is not empty. Your silence contains history. Your calm contains lessons. Your restraint contains experiences. And your presence contains a man who has learned not to reveal every chapter, simply because someone asks to read it. Chosen one, there was a time when being questioned may have made you feel obligated to answer. Now you understand that curiosity does not create entitlement. Someone wondering about your life does not mean they are automatically entitled to know it. Someone noticing your distance does not mean you owe an explanation. Someone becoming fascinated by your silence does not mean you must break it. This is where masculine energy becomes grounded rather than performative. You are not trying to make people wonder. You are simply becoming comfortable with being misunderstood for a moment. That is powerful. Because when you no longer need everyone to understand you immediately, you stop editing yourself for their comfort. You stop explaining every choice. You stop defending every boundary. You stop revealing every plan before it has matured. And suddenly, people experience a version of you that cannot be easily categorized. They may know your name, they may know your face, they may know what you allow them to see, but they cannot confidently describe the entire world behind you. That uncertainty creates curiosity, and women may especially notice the difference when your attention is no longer constantly available. Your energy does not chase their reactions. Your eyes do not ask, "Do you approve of me?" Your presence simply exists. You can stand in silence without becoming uncomfortable. You can walk away without needing to be followed. You can enjoy your own company without proving that you have somewhere important to be. That is not arrogance, it is inner anchoring. You are becoming a man whose private life does not depend on public validation. And that makes your public presence more powerful, because what people see is no longer the entire source of your identity. They are seeing the surface of something deeper. And the deeper it becomes, the more they begin wondering what exists underneath. Chosen one, there is another reason your privacy is becoming magnetic. Your energy no longer feels scattered. People can sense when someone gives their attention away too easily. You used to perhaps reveal your mood through every expression, your intentions through every word, your plans through every conversation. Your energy moved outward constantly. You explained, you reacted, you responded. You gave people clues without even realizing how many clues you were giving. Now something has changed. You have learned to hold your energy. You pause before answering. You observe before reacting. You listen without immediately exposing what you think. You let moments exist without rushing to fill them. That stillness changes everything. Chosen one, when your energy becomes contained, people become more aware of it. Think about the difference between a room filled with noise and a room where one person sits completely still. Noise demands attention. Stillness creates attention. That is what is happening around you. You are becoming quieter without becoming smaller. You are becoming private without becoming distant. You are becoming reserved without losing warmth. And people can feel the distinction. They begin studying the small things. The way your eyes move when someone mentions something personal. The slight pause before you answer a question. The calmness in your face when someone expects a reaction. The way you can listen to something provocative without immediately revealing whether it affected you. These details become signals, not because you are sending secret messages, because your self-control is visible. Women can feel this especially when they encounter a man whose emotional world does not immediately spill outward. There can be a moment of deeper attention, a subtle change in posture, a longer glance, a quieter atmosphere, not because you have manipulated anything, but because your energy communicates that there is more happening inside you than what appears on the surface, and curiosity grows inside that space. What does he think? What does he value? What does he do when nobody is around? What kind of life is he building? What does he keep private? What has he experienced that made him this composed? These questions are not necessarily spoken. Sometimes they exist only as impressions, but that is precisely why your energy has become so noticeable. You are no longer giving people the entire story. You are giving them enough to recognize the depth. Then you return to your own world. That movement is important. You reveal, you retreat. You live, you build, you return, not as a strategy, as a lifestyle. Your life is no longer a stage, it is a sanctuary. And people can feel when they are standing outside the door of something meaningful. Chosen one, if your private life has started feeling more sacred lately, like this video, subscribe, and comment, "I protect my energy," if you're choosing privacy over unnecessary explanations. Keep listening, because this gets deeper. Chosen one, your private life is becoming more compelling because you are finally building a life that does not need to be witnessed to feel real. There is a quiet strength in accomplishing something without immediately telling anyone. There is a different satisfaction in knowing you kept a promise to yourself without receiving applause. You begin to discover that some victories become stronger when they remain yours for a while. The transformation may look small from the outside. You stop posting every move. You stop announcing every intention. You stop explaining every absence. You stop revealing every emotion. But internally, this is enormous. You are moving from external confirmation to internal confirmation. No longer did they notice, but did I become? No longer do they understand, but do I understand myself? No longer will they approve, but is this aligned with who I am becoming? That shift changes your frequency. People who were accustomed to having easy access to your attention may notice first. They feel the difference. Your replies become intentional instead of automatic. Your presence becomes chosen instead of constantly available. Your words become fewer but more deliberate. And because people have less information, their curiosity can increase. They begin filling the empty spaces with questions. Perhaps you are building something. Perhaps you are changing. Perhaps you are preparing for a different season. Perhaps there is something happening in your life that you have not revealed yet. And while they wonder, you continue living. That is the key. You are not sitting around thinking about who is curious about you. You are occupied with your own alignment. You have things to learn, things to build, things to release, things to understand, things that belong only to you. Chosen one, this is why your privacy has become part of your masculine presence. You are no longer confusing exposure with authenticity. You are no longer believing that vulnerability requires complete disclosure. You are learning that a man can have a tender heart and guarded access. He can care deeply and still maintain boundaries. He can be emotionally intelligent without being emotionally exposed to everyone. He can be loving without becoming available to every person who reaches toward him. That balance creates reverence. And women often sense the difference between emotional absence and emotional mastery. Absence feels cold. Mastery feels grounded. Absence pushes people away. Mastery makes people wonder, what is beneath the calm? Your goal is not to become unreadable. Your transformation is becoming self-possessed. And when you become self-possessed, people become more curious about the life you possess. Chosen one, there are people who may be realizing that they knew the old version of you better than they know the man you are becoming. That realization can feel strange. They remember when you explained more. They remember when you reacted faster. They remember when your plans were easier to predict. They remember when they could tell what you were thinking simply by watching your behavior. Now they are not so sure. Something has become less predictable. Not because you became inconsistent, because you became intentional. That distinction matters. You are not changing yourself to confuse people. You are becoming less available to unconscious patterns. The old version reacted, the new version observes. The old version explained, the new version decides. The old version sought permission, the new version seeks alignment. And people feel this through your energy before they understand it intellectually. They may notice that you no longer rush to prove your innocence when misunderstood. You no longer need to correct every assumption. You no longer feel compelled to reveal private struggles simply to make others understand your behavior. You allow your life to speak through consistency. That is a powerful form of privacy. You are not hiding your character. You are letting your character reveal itself over time. And time is important because Genuine depth cannot be understood in a single conversation. A person can imitate confidence for an hour. A person can perform mystery for a day. But authentic inner stability reveals itself through repetition. The same calm, the same restraint, the same discernment, the same grounded energy. That consistency makes people wonder even more, because they realize your privacy is not a temporary performance. It is becoming part of who you are. Women may sense this as a quiet tension between what they can observe and what they cannot. They see your face, they see your posture, they see the calmness in your eyes. But they cannot immediately see what occupies your heart. They cannot instantly understand what you are preparing for. They cannot know every thought moving through your mind. And instead of your energy asking to be discovered, it simply remains anchored. That is what makes curiosity deepen. The less you chase being understood, the more naturally people begin wanting to understand you. The less you reveal for validation, the more meaningful what you do reveal becomes. The less you perform your life, the more your actual life begins to speak. Chosen one, your private world is also becoming more powerful because you are learning to protect the early stages of your transformation. Not every seed belongs in the open. Some things need darkness before they can grow. Some decisions need silence before they become strong enough to survive opinions. Some dreams need protection from the noise of people who have never carried them. You are learning this. Perhaps you have become quieter about your goals. Perhaps you have stopped telling everyone what you are planning. Perhaps you have realized that announcing a transformation can sometimes create the illusion that the transformation has already happened. So now you let the work happen first. You let the evidence arrive later. Chosen one, that creates a particular kind of energy. You become less interested in saying, "Watch what I am about to do," and more interested in simply doing it. No announcement, no performance, no need for witnesses. That quiet discipline changes your presence. Your eyes become steadier because your attention has somewhere to go. Your posture becomes more grounded because you are carrying purpose rather than seeking approval. Your words become cleaner because you no longer need 10 sentences to communicate what one deliberate sentence can carry. And people notice. They may wonder why you seem occupied, even when you are doing nothing obvious. They may sense that your attention is invested somewhere they cannot see. That is the private life they become curious about. Not necessarily your physical location, your internal location. Where is your mind? What are you building? What are you becoming? What does he know that he does not feel the need to announce? What happened inside him that made him so comfortable with Nalansize? These questions emerge because your energy now suggests a life with depth. And women can feel that depth through subtle things, a slower breath, a composed expression, a moment of silence that you do not rush to break, a look that is attentive but not desperate, a presence that is warm but not hungry for recognition. This is not about withholding affection. It is about no longer abandoning yourself to obtain it. You can give attention without giving away your center. You can care without losing your boundaries. You can connect without exposing every private chamber of your life. That is sovereignty. And sovereignty has a frequency people recognize even when they cannot name it. Chosen one. There is a moment coming into your interactions where someone may realize that your silence tells them more about you than your old explanations ever did. Because silence, when it comes from insecurity, feels uncomfortable. But silence that comes from self-possession feels different. It feels deliberate. It feels anchored. It feels like you are not afraid of what someone might think. And that can make people think even more. They may look at you and wonder what is happening behind your calm expression. They may notice that you no longer react to every provocation. You do not rush, you do not chase, you do not perform, you remain. And remaining centered while everything around you demands a reaction is a form of power. Chosen one, your energy is beginning to communicate that your private life belongs to you. That message does not need to be spoken. It exists in your boundaries. It exists in the way you choose what to share. It exists in the way you leave certain questions unanswered without feeling guilty. It exists in the way you can smile without explaining why. It exists in the way you can become quiet without becoming insecure. People sense this. And when they sense that your life is no longer completely available for observation, curiosity naturally becomes stronger, because access feels valuable when it is no longer automatic. This is why you may notice certain people paying closer attention now. Not necessarily approaching, not necessarily speaking, simply noticing. A glance that lasts a little longer, a subtle shift when you enter. A deeper attentiveness when you finally say something personal. A sense that people are listening between your words. They are trying to understand the person behind the restraint. Women may especially feel drawn toward the unanswered spaces, not because you are creating games, not because you are pretending to be unavailable, but because authentic privacy creates a natural sense of depth. And depth cannot be consumed instantly. It must be experienced slowly, through consistency, through presence, through trust, through what you reveal naturally rather than what someone extracts from you. Chosen one, if people have been watching you differently lately, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment they feel it if you can sense their curiosity growing. Stay focused because what comes next may reveal why. Chosen one. This is where your energy becomes almost paradoxical. The less you try to appear mysterious, the more mysterious you become. The less you try to attract attention, the more attention your stillness can receive. The less you explain your life, the more people wonder about it. The less you chase being understood, the more people want to understand. Not because you are manipulating perception, because you are finally living from a place that does not require constant external confirmation. Your private life has stopped being something you hide. It has become something you honor. And when a man honors his private world, his public presence begins carrying the weight of everything he refuses to cheapen. Chosen one, the deepest shift is that you are becoming comfortable with being partially unknown. That may sound simple, but it requires enormous inner strength. Human beings naturally want to be understood. You are no different, but you are learning that not everyone needs access to every layer of you. Some people may only know your surface. Some may know your humor. Some may know your discipline. Some may know your kindness. Some may know your ambition. Very few will understand the entire architecture of your inner world. And that is okay. You no longer need to force every person to see everything. Chosen one. There is freedom in allowing yourself to remain a mystery, even to people who are curious. You do not need to punish them with silence. You do not need to become cold. You simply stop over-explaining. If they wonder, let them wonder. If they notice, let them notice. If they sense a change, let the change speak. Your energy does not need subtitles. This is where your masculine presence becomes quieter but stronger. You are not standing at the center of the room asking everyone to look. You are standing in your own center. And people naturally notice someone who is centered. Women may feel that stability is something subtle in their body, a deeper breath, a softer posture, a moment of stillness. An instinctive awareness that your attention is not something you scatter everywhere. There is a difference between a man who withholds attention because he wants to create desire and a man who gives attention carefully because he values where his energy goes. The second carries depth. You are becoming the second. Your energy says, I can be present without being consumed. I can care without losing myself. I can reveal without exposing everything. I can love without abandoning my private world. I can be known without being completely accessible. And that combination is difficult to ignore because people are accustomed to extremes. They expect openness or distance, noise or silence, neediness or coldness. But your transformation lives somewhere else. Warmth with boundaries, presence with privacy, confidence with humility, stillness with purpose. That balance is what makes people curious. They can feel the harmony, but they cannot immediately explain its source. So they watch. They observe. They wonder. And while they are trying to understand what changed, you are quietly becoming more anchored in the life that exists beyond their view. Chosen one. There is something almost sacred about the fact that people cannot see everything you have survived, everything you have learned, everything you are building, and everything you are becoming. They see the man who stands before them. They do not see every private conversation you have had with yourself. They do not see the nights you had to regain your discipline. They do not see the moments when you chose restraint instead of reaction. They do not see the decisions that changed the direction of your life before anyone else knew. They only see the result. And the result is an energy that feels different. That is why curiosity can surround you without you asking for it. Your privacy carries evidence, evidence of growth, evidence of discernment, evidence that your identity is no longer dependent upon constant visibility. Chosen one. The old you may have wanted people to know what you were doing. The new you wants to know that what you are doing actually matters. That is a profound shift. You stop confusing attention with significance. You stop confusing exposure with connection. You stop confusing being watched with being valued. And once you stop needing those things, your energy becomes cleaner. Your attention returns to you. Your focus becomes sharper. Your private life becomes richer. Your public life becomes simpler. And strangely enough, the simpler you become on the outside, the more complicated you can appear to people who are trying to figure you out. They see fewer clues. They hear fewer explanations. They receive fewer emotional reactions. So their curiosity searches for meaning. What is behind the silence? What is behind the confidence? What is behind the restraint? What is happening in the life of this man who seems increasingly comfortable keeping certain things to himself? Women may feel that question especially strongly when they sense that your attention has become intentional rather than automatic. You are not trying to be everywhere. You are not trying to be noticed by everyone. You are not trying to prove your value through constant interaction. You are simply present where you choose to be. That is what makes your presence more noticeable. Scarcity created through games is fragile, but selectiveness created through self-respect is enduring. Chosen one. You are not becoming less human. You are becoming less performative. You are not becoming emotionless. You are becoming more discerning about where your emotions belong. You are not becoming unreachable. You are becoming intentional about who receives access. And this distinction is written into your energy before you ever explain it. Chosen one. Eventually, people may begin realizing that the most interesting thing about your private life is not what you are hiding, it is what you are building. Because privacy without purpose becomes isolation, but privacy with purpose becomes preparation. You are creating space for things that require your full attention, a new discipline, a new standard, a new direction, a deeper relationship with yourself, a life that feels less like something you must prove and more like something you are responsible for cultivating. And that responsibility changes the way you carry yourself. You no longer need every conversation to lead somewhere. You no longer need every person to understand your decisions. You no longer need every moment to become content for someone else's perception of you. Some experiences can simply belong to you. Some victories can remain quiet. Some plans can remain unfinished and protected. Some emotions can be processed before they are expressed. Some dreams can exist in silence until they have roots. This is why your private life begins carrying a different energy. It becomes a place where you recover your attention, a place where you hear your own thoughts, a place where you are not performing, a place where you can be completely honest with yourself, and that inner honesty eventually appears in your outer presence. You become harder to shake, harder to rush, harder to manipulate, not because you have become suspicious of everyone, because you have become familiar with yourself. That familiarity creates calm, and calm creates gravity. And gravity creates curiosity. People feel the effect before they understand the source. Women may notice that there is something peaceful about being around you, yet something they cannot immediately define. Your energy does not demand. It does not plead. It does not chase. It simply exists. And when a person encounters that kind of grounded presence, the natural question becomes, what is happening inside him? But you do not need to answer immediately. You can allow the question to remain a question. Because your life is not an open book that everyone is entitled to finish reading, it is a living story. And some pages are written in silence. Some chapters are understood only by you. Some doors remain closed until trust, timing, and alignment make their opening meaningful. That is not deception, that is discernment. And the more you honor that distinction, the more your energy begins communicating something unmistakable. There is a world within you that cannot be accessed simply by looking at the surface. Chosen one. You don't need to prove that you've changed. Let your presence speak for you. Like this video, subscribe, and comment "I'm ready" if you're stepping into this new energy. Keep listening, because there is still more unfolding beneath the surface. Chosen one, your privacy is becoming part of your identity because you have finally stopped measuring your worth by how much of yourself other people can see. There is no need to announce every transformation. There is no need to explain every boundary. There is no need to make everyone understand the man you are becoming. Your consistency will speak. Your restraint will speak. Your posture will speak. Your silence will speak. And the people paying attention will feel the difference. They may not have language for it. They may simply notice that you seem more settled, more deliberate, more difficult to distract, more comfortable in your own space. And that creates a quiet kind of fascination, because people are naturally drawn towards someone who appears to possess something they are not trying to sell. You are not selling mystery. You are living privacy. You are not manufacturing distance. You are protecting alignment. You are not withholding yourself to create desire. You are preserving your energy because it has become valuable to you. That is why the curiosity around your private life can become stronger. People sense that there is something real behind the restraint. They sense that you have a life outside their perception. They sense that your attention can leave the room while your body remains in it. They sense that your mind belongs somewhere deeper. And women may become especially attentive to the contrast between your visible presence and invisible world. They see the calm man in front of them. They wonder about the private man behind him. They see the restraint. They wonder about the passion beneath it. They see the silence. They wonder about the thoughts inside it. They see the confidence. They wonder what experiences created it. Yet you remain unshaken. You do not rush to reveal. You do not rush to conceal. You simply allow what is genuine to emerge when it is ready. And that is where the energy becomes undeniable. Because when a man becomes fully comfortable with his own private world, he no longer needs to make the world curious about him. Curiosity comes naturally, not from performance, from presence, not from secrecy, from depth, not from pretending to be unavailable, from knowing that your inner world is yours to steward. And as you continue moving through the world with that quiet sovereignty, you may begin noticing something even more subtle. People are no longer only curious about where you have been or what you are doing. They are becoming curious about what kind of man you are becoming when nobody is there to see it. Because somehow the unseen version of you is beginning to show through the smallest things you do. And the more carefully they watch those details, the more they begin to sense that. Chosen one, let them wonder. Your energy no longer needs to explain what your private life is building. What is meant to be revealed will reveal itself in divine timing. If this message spoke to you, subscribe and stay connected for more messages on masculine energy, spiritual growth, and becoming the man you were created to be.